This is the Arise Exchange with me, Rodi Sodiri, in Lagos, Nigeria's financial capital. A warm welcome to our viewers here and around the world. Let's get started, as always, on the markets. It's positive today on the NGX. It's positive. 0.14% is where we kick things off. I hear there was a big off-market trade in Owando that pushed things in the positive region. 43,260 points is where we closed on the NGX. 4,811 deals. Volume 2.4 million. Look at the 2.4 million shares that closed and look at the value there. 16.4 billion. This has to be a new high. Equity 22.57 trillion naira. Again, big block trade involving Owando. Let's take a look at the volume leaders, and you should see Owando at the very top. There they are. There it is. So massive trade that took place today. 11.8 billion naira worth, 1.7 million trades that closed. Mutual benefit assurance in the insurance sector. Owando, of course, oil and gas. 32.5 million naira worth of trades that cleared for mutual benefit assurance. FBNH been a staple in the volumes as far as that stock is concerned. 1.707 billion naira. GTCO, another staple in the volume sector. Lots of off-market trade and investor sentiment offshore interest in GTCO. 1.07 billion as well, just like FBNH. And then Sterling Bank, 25.4 million shares that traded. 37.74 million worth that traded there. So banks still a staple in the volume. All right, let's take a look at the top gainers. Honeywell Flour Mills. Of course, we've heard the big news. We'll be talking to a guest about that in just a second. The takeover from Flour Mills of Nigeria. So they led the way, 9.73%, 3 naira 72 kobo where they closed. NEM Insurance in the insurance sector up by 7.89% in second place. FBNH, you saw them on the volumes there. 12 naira 30 kobo where they closed, up by 6.49% to lead the way. Owando, there they are again, top volume on the market today. 5.97% gain for Owando. And then in brewery sector, Champions Breweries, 2 naira 71 kobo where they closed, 3.83% gain for them. Variety in the top 5 gainers. More variety in the losers. Let's take a look at the top losers on the exchange. TIP is in waste management consulting firm. They're up, down, led the way by 9.76% fall. Their UPDC Real Estate Investment Trust down by, I keep saying up, 9.74% drop there, second place. FTN Cocoa Processors Agro Allied Space, 9.09% drop in third place. Japal Precious Metals, 4.8% drop. And finally, at the bottom there, Universal Insurance, another insurance company, down by 4.76. Let's look at the NGX group and how it traded today. Well, unfortunately, still not quite there, but still off its 18 naira levels. 15 naira 30 kobo is where it closed, down by 65 basis points. 151 trades, 4.74 million shares that crossed between buyers and sellers, valued at 74.3 million naira. That's the NGX group. So it looks like some profit taking still taking place there. Let's look at the other markets. So the NGX back to positive ways. Will that be maintained for tomorrow? We'll see. Over in Ghana, lots of news coming out of Ghana. 41 basis point drop, 2,907 points is where they closed. The BRVM over in Côte d'Ivoire, 193 points, 29 basis point drop there. Let's take a look at the top news. As we said, Flour Mills making the way as far as the top news is concerned here. Flour Mills to acquire Honeywell. Flour Mills of Nigeria to acquire Honeywell Flour Mills PLC for about 80 billion. That's the enterprise value of the company. Second place there, the IMF is advising the federal government to remove fuel and electricity subsidies in early 22. With an election coming up in 2023, oh boy. The African Development Bank is giving Kalu $110 million. They've earmarked $563 million for agriculture and Nigeria and roads. Ghana, there I was saying another news coming from Ghana. Fuel prices to hit 7 cedis per litre by the end of 2021, and also still in Ghana. The electronic levy that came out of their budget presentation, because they need the money, businesses in the mobile money vendors saying that 1.75% transaction will kill their businesses. All right, let's get to Flour Mills. The news regarding Flour Mills of Nigeria. Again, Nigeria's biggest flour maker, Flour Mills of Nigeria, has announced an agreement to acquire Honeywell Flour Mills PLC, enterprise value of 80 billion naira. This was disclosed in a press statement revealing that Honeywell Group Limited agreed to sell a 71.6% stake in Honeywell Flour Mills to Flour Mills of Nigeria. The proposed transaction will combine two businesses with shared goals. Honeywell Group is a conglomerate based in Nigeria, which operates in diversified businesses such as foods and agriculture, telecommunications, infrastructure, real estate, financial services. So let's speak to Chukwuma Kalu, who is a commercial manager, West Africa Anglophone at PULA Advisors, to talk more about this. Chukwuma, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening to you. My first question, what do you make of the transaction?
I think it's a welcome development. Definitely, at some point, you need consolidation in the agribusiness marketplace, and who better than the likes of Flour Mill and Honeywell to consolidate and expand their business operation in the local market. So very, very good development. Hoping that we can see some more in the nearby future. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you, sir. Thanks for joining us. What about likely impacts in terms of scalability across the country for the combined products and services of these firms?
Well, I think there's still a lot of room for growth. In recent times, we've seen a lot of backward integration. We're seeing players trying to ring-fence their raw material supply chain. The thing I love best about this transaction is that, look, these are people playing in the upstream sector, and the upstream sector is like the center of gravity. Without production capacity, you can't really influence the rest of the value chain. We're talking about logistics, storage, local trade, and international trade. So this sits in very well with me, and sky is the limit. I mean, they can do a lot. They can actually start looking at how they can expand and take some more market share. And increase their drive in terms of backward integration and ring fencing supply chain, and also expanding in-grower and outgrower schemes.
All right, now just to have a wider conversation about agriculture in general, if you look at GDP for the third quarter, 1.22% growth. What do you think we need in order to see higher growth in the agri space?
A lot. We can look at it from different standpoints. We can look at it from mechanization. We can look at it from, risk management. You talk about insurance. A lot of money wants to go into the agri space, but there's always this fear or business perception that risks are very high. And then you also look at, cost of funding, patient capital. It takes time to build capacity in the agri space and critical mass. And if you look at our agri sector, it's predominantly smallholder farmer driven. So there's a lot of market building activities that needs to take place to build that critical mass, to sensitize farmers on good agricultural practices, to get them financially included, and to explain to make them financially savvy, to understand, different financial transaction models that can funnel monies into that space. And, over time, build the kind of scale and capacity. And then you also talk about ease of doing business, infrastructures. Do we have the right infrastructures in place that can make us competitive in the League of Nations? So there's a lot of moving parts. But the beautiful thing about it is that Nigeria itself is a market, and we have some crop value chains that we have comparative advantage that we can tap into, and we could be global contenders in no distant future.
Great stuff. Well, yeah, I think I heard you mention mechanized farming earlier. What's keeping Nigeria from being a highly mechanized farming economy? Is it the cost of machines or what?
It's like I said, different moving parts. You look at the exchange rate, you have to buy this production equipment. You look at maintenance. Is there an ecosystem for that? You look at the business model. Is the business model sustainable to incorporate mechanization? Apart from the likes of the Honeywells and the flour mills that operate at scale, majority of our farmers are smallholder farmers. So you have to arrange them and organize them in a way that it makes it commercially viable to consider mechanization. These are conversations that even government needs to wade in. We need to have the right kind of policies. I know in the past there have been a lot of intervention from the Central Bank of Nigeria, NASAL, even in the insurance space where I operate, there are a lot of new innovation in terms of, climate change insurance and how we can use that to protect the agricultural last mile. So a lot of moving parts. You need a very far-reaching strategy from at the very top, to take cognizance of the different parts and to piece everything together. You have to have the right partners. You have to have the right economic policies, exchange rates, and etc. All layered together to ensure that mechanization can hold forth and stay through thick and thin.
Great stuff. Is climate change something players in the agricultural space talk about often or not at all?
Oh, I mean, in yesteryears it wasn't, but I mean, we're all seeing, the effects of droughts, the effects of floods, and they're becoming more prevalent, more severe. A lot of investments are being put in, like I mentioned earlier, agro programs and contract farming schemes. So you can't put billions in and then, at the twinkle of an eye, an adverse weather effect wipes off all your investments. So a lot of these key players are now having interactions with insurance companies and ag insurtechs like PULA, where I work, and we're always pushing the envelope in terms of what kind of innovations, in terms of climate change tools that we can put in place that can actually protect farmers and aggregators and also financiers from the ills of adverse weather effects. And over time, I'm happy to say that in the continent, Nigeria has been one of the front runners in terms of adopting or utilizing innovative climate change insurance products. We have the likes of CBN and NASAL subscribing for what we call parametric insurance. Parametric insurance is a specialized kind of insurance that actually benchmarks its coverage with weather parameters like rainfall, temperature, soil moisture, and the like. So, so yes, more sophisticated aggregators, crowdfunding companies are actually warming up to understanding the ills of climate change and also taking the right risk management tools to hedge their risk.
Kalu, Commercial Manager, West Africa at PULA Advisors. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate your insights.